Hi, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of Version 1, a podcast where interesting people come to talk about their creative processes, imposter syndrome, inspiration, failures along the way, and much more. I'm your host, Waverly, and this episode is part of our Aruba Limited series. I've partnered with the Boardwalk Hotel to bring you conversations with local artists who are shaping the island's creative landscape. Follow the show on Instagram at Version 1 Podcast, and you can support the show at buymeacoffee.com/Waverly Colville. You can listen to this episode wherever you get your podcasts or head over to YouTube to watch the video version. All right, Claudia Ruiz Vasquez, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Could we just start with having you introduce yourself?
All right, yes. Thank you, Waverly. Thank you for the opportunity of being here. Well, my name is Claudia, as you pronounce it very well. I am born in Guatemala, and I am in the island for 30 years. So I will always say I'm an Arubian by heart. So I chose to be here. And so, yes, I'm a conceptual designer. I'm the conceptual designer of Boardwalk. So I'm very happy with this interview, Waverly.
Fantastic. When you were a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, you really want to know the truth?
Yeah.
I guess I have always been connected with art and design. There's nothing out of that scope. It was always about colors and textures. I think that's very much through my journey of life. But also, one day I wanted to, there's a dichotomy here, a very strong one. I wanted to be, one day, hold your horses, one day I wanted to be Coco Chanel. So, do this beautiful extreme design and live in Paris and be an artist and stay there, be an illustrator. And the next day I wanted to be Mother Teresa. It was very, very intense. So, from very young, I decided not to share this because it was a little bit too crazy to share, but definitely colors. And so Coco Chanel plus / artist. So I don't know if you know Robert Rauschenberg. So I love this modern design artist and drawer, painter. So I wanted to be one and the other at the same time.
Wow. So it sounds like you've always had a really creative spirit.
Yes.
Since
absolutely.
You were young.
Yes.
When you were growing up, were you always drawing or painting, or what sort of creative outlets did you have when you were young?
Oh, very good question. Actually, it was always drawing, but also we used to have a farm. So I'm a little bit of a Pocahontas, if you wish. I was always jumping and cutting leaves and collecting flowers and collecting stones and textures. I'm, if you know me well, I'm always touching things. If I need to know a fabric, I need to know what type of fabric. So I'm always busy with textures also. So yes, I was drawing a lot. And I think from all, my most beloved media is definitely watercolor.
Oh, that's wonderful. What is it about watercolor specifically that you love?
I guess because it's the transparency, and I actually like the risk that is not forgiving. I mean, watercolor is, with oil or with acrylics, you can always cover and touch up. With watercolor, that's it. You really cannot go back. I guess that's also part of the organic feel of it. Is very, I think that's what it is. Transparency. So it's subtle. I guess that's what it is. It doesn't scream at you. It speaks softly.
Oh, I love that.
Tone of voice, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a poetic way to say it. I love that.
Thank you.
Talk to me, because you've been in Aruba for 30 years. What originally brought you to Aruba?
That's also a very long one, a very strong one. Well, I came married. I was an expat wife, so we came as an post, and so we came living from Honduras. So that's how I came. 2 little kids, and the intention was to keep on moving. And then my marriage failed. And so I decided to stay because of my kids here. That was my main goal.
Oh, you wanted to give them a childhood in Aruba?
Yes. Yes. Actually, it was the sea and the simplicity of the life of Aruba. I think Aruba is very simple. And I figure if you live in a big city and you are a single mom, everything is hard. It's much more hardship. And I figure that in Aruba, if you pay attention, it's a very simple and humble life, but it's beautiful. You know, I remember how we almost cried when I would see the football game fields or the soccer, the hockey also. It was mostly sand compared to grass, but yet it has this extra flavor of simplicity. And I'm very thankful for that actually choice, because I think, if anything, I think my kids are very humble and modest people. And so I think that that's also part of the Aruba experience, I think.
I love that. That's
Yes.
awesome. And were you working as an artist back then?
Yes, and a designer. Well, yes, I'm a conceptual designer and slash artist as well. But yes, my main core is design. I'm a conceptual designer. Yes.
Could you explain what a conceptual designer is?
You know, you've got to see it as maybe as it's a creative brain who gets a concept. So you create concept. That's what I create. So a conceptual designer is someone who creates an idea and develops it fully. So nowadays you talk about concept restaurants, concept hotels. So that's basically what it is. It's a concept. You develop an idea from the beginning to the end, and then there's a vision, and there's I'm not an executor. You have a vision, and then you delegate the vision into pieces, and so it is a teamwork actually. So I'm a conceptual designer, but definitely I need a team to execute, otherwise it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yes,
so you kind of come up with the overall vision,
Yeah.
the overall vibe,
Yeah.
and then you work with different teams, like I imagine architects or landscape designers or things like interior designers, to kind of make your vision come to life. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes. So that's basically what you do. So I go into the nurseries, for example, or I work with the people of plants. I work with the people with a landscaper. We oversee. I make a design, and then I sit with them, and then we said, okay, this works, this doesn't work, and then we work a little bit with the budget. Okay, this one would work better here. So I'm always busy. I guess I'm fascinated with the conceptual design for public spaces, because I can impact more people. Like my design can impact people. You can see it in Boardwalk, and I think that's the thrill of Boardwalk, is that it creates an emotion. So design is very important. I always say that it's my responsibility to bring an idea and to create an impression on people. I mean, we hope that you feel that it's a positive impression in Boardwalk. And I have to say that my clients are very connected with the same idea. We've been 14 years working together.
Wow.
And so it's beautiful, because what you do is, since we're here in Boardwalk talking, is like you develop, and then you need that team to move forward, but you have to be able to move freely with I need to move freely with my concept, because I'm an overseer of the design, so I am involved also in curating a website, curated the way and the feel and the look, because it is at the end, if I create a concept, but there's no follow up, or there's no boundaries, then let's say somebody else comes in, and then a new person it's actually like politics, like a new person. If there's a vision, and then a new politician comes and changes everything because he likes it, his idea, his opinion. So it's very important to keep the concept, let's say, holy, if may I say.
Yeah.
And that is very important to that you can influence people through design.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk about how you got involved with the Boardwalk Hotel originally. So, what was it like before you got involved? And tell me a bit about how you started working with the hotel.
It's very interesting, because how was it again? Yes. The past owners of this property, they were thinking to create something with it. The beauty of this project is that I know the owners personally, and they were really people from the beach. So they were really, as you see in the stories of Boardwalk, they were beach bums who started a little boutique hotel. That's how it started. And so I was working with them, and they were deciding whether they were going to expand or not. So that's how it started about. And then when the new people came in, when the new owners came in, I know that there was a reference like, okay, well, why don't you meet this person as well? was me. So I was going to get hired with the other people, and that's how it came about. It was like a synergy. Aruba is small, so we knew each other. I'm not a windsurfer kiter, but my both kids are. And my son also is into kiting. So it's the lifestyle of the beach. So you know more or less the same people. So that's how it came about.
Awesome.
Yes.
And so once you start getting involved, what were sort of the first steps that you took to start designing the hotel?
So it was not even a third of what it is today, and the property as a land, but also what it was. So I guess the main, what I always say, and it's the same as I think I told you when we were off camera, when I work also for the airport of Aruba, I worked for them also 12 years. And so it's the same, going back to the same principle. You develop one concept, I develop a concept, and then we follow through. And at the beginning, it was humble beginnings, because they were very small rooms and they were half renovated. And of course, the new owners, they had all the heart and all the love, but of course now they had to work with a budget, how to expand and how to go in a smooth way. But the principle, what you see today, design-wise in Boardwalk, is exactly where we started 14 years ago. So we just expanded in phases, basically. So that's how it was. So with landscaping, with the design of the houses, everything, the same concept was what started then. Maybe just now it's more refined, of course. And then there were more budget. There was more, there are much more people in it. And the concept as from the beginning, it has grown. It's not the moms and pops type of a small hotel, but it has that warmth. And I think the owners have done a great job to do that, to keep the feeling of authenticity and yet the warmth of a moms and pops concept, yet it is professional, is refined, it is luxurious. It is really, I'm very proud that it is a boutique hotel. Mm-hmm. Not for nothing, we got a Michelin star recently. So it is that perfect balance, if you wish, of the feeling of a boutique, but also the personal touch. And that there's a big team in the back as a project that they are managing to make it, to keep it this way. So in one way is sometimes when you grow as a project, and I can say it also with another projects of mine, for good and for bad, you need to keep, if you're going to change things, or if you're going to expand, you have to be careful not to throw the baby with the bathwater. You need to be able to keep the real design, the concept intact. Otherwise, when you grow, you dilute the concept. So I think that is, you can see it in Boardwalk. It's very well done, that the transition is been smooth from the past to the present.
That's awesome.
Yes.
When you were first coming up with the concept of what you wanted Boardwalk to look like, where did you look for inspiration?
For me, definitely Caribbean. And to create that oasis or that dream Caribbean. So in reality, what we hear a lot of from Boardwalk, the feedback is that it is different than everything else. So Caribbean, and I wanted it to be very authentic, very green, timeless. If you see around, it is timeless design. It's coastal, timeless, and definitely I'm a colorist by heart. I think you saw it already. You've been through the Boardwalk. I love color, but I think also very important it is the balance of colors. So what we were just talking as well. You can use colors, but you have to see what is the saturations. You cannot go extreme, otherwise you have a circus.
Yeah. How did you pick out the color palette for Boardwalk?
Well, so for me, it's a natural. Like I said, I set up a color scheme draft, and I start thinking, okay, what is what I need for the. I always say that when I start working, maybe that's a process of my design. I sit and I start. I sit in silence. I listen to. I say it's God. To me, it's God. So I listen to God, and I sit. I said, okay, what are we going to do? What do we need? I don't think always, okay, this is my ego, my ideas. I always think, okay, what is it needed to make this successful? That is my question. always to myself, right? I am by myself with my papers. And so the colors came about also with the colors of Aruba, the colors of the Caribbean. So yeah, and then you can see the different hues, but also the different combinations you will see.
Very cool. And when you are in the idea stage, before anything happens, like before things are being built or painted or anything like that, how do you collect your ideas? Like, do you make mood boards? Do you draw? Do you do 3D modeling? Like, how do your ideas sort of come to fruition before they're actually built?
There's a lot of sketching. That's my medium. I don't like computers. I mean, of course I use them, but I don't feel the connection with it. And I do like the connection with the pen and the pencil and the feeling of the paper and the eraser. It is my medium, definitely. So I sketch a lot. And then I collect everything and I collect and gather. Sometimes it's a picture, also a sunset. I'm obsessed. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm obsessed with sunsets. Actually, with the dusk, I love the colors in the sky. And so I think that's how it started. And definitely starting with a color scheming of the Aruba landscape. If you see the colors, it's many hues of pinks and turquoises, and yet some vibrancy of greens and yellow, which is the Caribbean flowers. So I think if you think about it, the color scheming of Boardwalk came about from it. That's the start point.
That's beautiful. And what do you hope when someone sees all the beautiful colors around the hotel? What do you hope that they feel?
I think it's a full sense of, what is very important is the balance, if I may say. I do. So if you see through the hotel, what I expect is that people will be connected with peace. There's a sensibility of peace, of serenity. People come to Aruba and to the Boardwalk to spend time in peace, to revisit regenerate themselves. They come to find fun, but it's a type of a quiet fun. It's a fulfilling fun. It's like a kind of a time for relax and if you wish, meditate, because I do say I meditate. When I said I was a Pocahontas, I spend a lot of time horseback riding and being alone and spending time in nature. And I think in Boardwalk, you can sense that you can connect with nature, definitely, not only in the rooms, but also in the public spaces. So I guess what I expect for people to feel is that there's the vibrancy of the Caribbean colors, but yet it's serene. I don't know if you notice, I use a lot of whites and a lot of light grays and a lot of beiges. So that is what it subdues. It's a quiet. I always say that's my neutral. So people think, Claudia, color. Yeah, color, but there's a lot of balance in it. It's a lot of quiet. It's empty spaces so that the bright colors come up more vibrant.
That's awesome. And yes, and we have one of your sketches you actually did of the hotel here right behind us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a sketch of the garden, and you said you did this before the garden came about, right? And it looks exactly like it does today.
Yes.
So that's incredible. How do you translate when you have a drawing, you have an idea? What are the steps to make it actually happen and make it look exactly what you designed?
Yeah, I think what happens is that because, again, it's a teamwork. So I do my work. My presentation is very, very important for me. So my first drawings are holy and sanctified. I believe that that's where my downloads come about, how I call them. Let me help you. So I call them downloads from heaven. So I stay connected to those first drafts or first drawings, let's say first inspirations. So I do the renderings and then I put them all together. I make the presentation. Of course, my clients accept it or they approved or, we go through everything. And then we go to the architect or engineer, and then we translate it. And that's fantastic. It's a fantastic process also. It's a fascinating process because then we think this way. And then the architect says, okay, wait a minute. Or the engineer would say, wait, that is wonderful in your mind, but we need huge capacity. So then we start working on that. So that's a beautiful working together experience also. And so that's how it works. So from the drawing, then we go for approvals, and then of course, then we go for execution. We go for the planning, and then for the to put it on paper, and then we go for execution. And but it is a beautiful work together. It's an intertwined work together.
Yeah.
But once I have the design, then we run. So if you wish in the order is, I always go first, because without the vision, there's no knowledge. People perish. So we need the vision first. It has to be precise. It has to be clear, crystal clear, the vision, where we're going. So we're Caribbean. We're Caribbean, we're coastal, we're timeless, we're chic. We don't. So the vision is clear, and that has to be related. You can see it. Cohesiveness is very important. The same as when we choose furniture, proportions, sizes, colors. So first is the drawings. So it comes here, the downloads, and then we put them in practice, and then it's just fun, because then is when then everybody comes in. Somebody comes and starts sourcing the materials, the other one the chairs, and then we start curating. And so it is really but this is the beginning for sure.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you call them downloads from heaven, I think you called them, right?
Yes.
That's so interesting. Could you talk to me about what that looks like in practice, for someone who, I don't know if I've ever experienced that. So I'm just curious how it actually happens for you, how these downloads come into your mind.
So I look like I'm very social. And actually, I'm not. I'm very much of a hermit, if you wish. I'm always with my own music, in my own bubble. I would say I'm in my design bubble, in my art bubble. So I love people, and I go out and I meet up, and then I retrieve and I go into my cocoon, basically. So I'm in my studio with music on my own, many times instrumental music, because I find I'm very sensitive, so I get very annoyed and distracted if it's too many noises. Or I can be swimming. If there's music that I love, then I'm screaming my lungs off. This is a very solo process. And I'm with my colors, my paint. And then that's what I said. I sit and I said, okay, what do we need? And maybe that is a key, a clue. Like I said, my downloads, I always said, okay, what do we need? What is it required for this project? It's like, because at the same time, I started working for Boardwalk, for example. I was working for the airport of Aruba, which is a complete other project. It was modern, stainless steel, a lot of metal, varied, and this is completely coastal, barefoot. And so, so how does it work in that moment of the download? I think I put everything in paper. I said, okay, I always say this, whether it's a painting or a concept, I put the canvas or the paper, and I start always with what we have. I think it's a little bit like life. You start with what you've got. If you are Chinese descendant, or that is your ethnicity, you look gorgeous as a Chinese ethnicity person. It's the same with me. I mean, you see me. I mean, I could not be a Caucasian blonde person. I would look horrible. So you start with what you've got. There's always something good to start with. So I always said, okay, what do we have? So we knew, in the case of Boardwalk, okay, there is a beach. We don't have a beach. It is a beach. I mean, it's a beach bum. It was, right? A small hotel, but we don't have a beachfront. But what do we have that others don't have? You see? That vibe, the beach vibe, for example. And and if it's a painting, it's the same. What do I need in a painting? Okay, what are the colors that it's always what do you have to start with, and then I move from there. So so that's basically, maybe that's the answer. I hope it's the answer.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
I always start with what you've got.
Yeah, and then you just build from there.
I build from there, yes.
Yeah. Do you ever have times where you're stuck, though? Like maybe you don't have ideas or you feel uninspired?
It's very interesting. I have never had that. People say that they have this frozen, I think they call it a frozen...
Yeah, like I've heard people call it like a rut before, or if you're a writer, it's called writer's block. But I'm sure there's different words for different mediums, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what I do is that I do for, let's say that I'm halfway with, let's say I have a struggle, or in my case would be like I have a design, but then it is very costly, extremely costly. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. We have to see how we downsize the cost. And I'm stuck with that idea. So then I would go for a swim, or I go for a walk on the beach, or I go rollerblading.
Rollerblading, that's cool.
I love rollerblading. Yes, that's my thing.
That sounds so fun.
Yes, it's amazing. Yes, and I really, I do it in the, how do you say it? In the liners. Yeah, so then I go for a run, I go for a swim, I go for or I walk with my doggies at the beach, which I love. So I often tell my husband, I'm going to take the dogs and me for a walk. I'm going to walk us this afternoon. And so I do have and then when I come back, many times the answers are there. I don't know how to explain, but that's for me. I never have had that blockage.
Yeah, it sounds like stepping away and maybe doing something a little physical with your body, and then it's just to take your mind off it. And then it sounds like then you come back and you receive those downloads again.
Yes. So it's like, so it's like to be continued, have a pause. I have never been, I don't like television. I mean, it's a dread for me. It's really also news, very little. I mean, I might read something, or of course, I need to be somehow connected, but I'm not very connected. And I think that keeps me in peace. I'm very sensitive to that. So I think that's also, I don't get recharged with it. In the other hand, I get completely depleted if I watch TV or too much, or I hardly watch TV.
Yeah, you have to protect your peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't, I don't watch TV. I don't.
Yeah, because it probably, if you were to consume all of that, it would kind of clog your mind with too much information and not letting you have the creative space to breathe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, it's a no.
Yeah, that makes sense. Could you talk to me about all the different teams that you work with to make a space come to life?
Difference. Okay, so we start with I think the most important is the architectural team at the beginning. So from when there's a go ahead with the design, where the architects and engineers, a very important engineer part, because like I explained before, sometimes idea would be great and it's very hard to get. A very good example is the arches at the entry of the property. After you come into the boardwalk, you see the arches of the climb. Did you see it?
Yes.
The green. So that was a very important one for me, because I wanted to keep privacy for those houses, and yet I needed to have the parking lot there. So it was very important. I needed to create some type of barricade. I wanted to give them the same feeling of luxury and rest that everybody else. Otherwise, those rooms for me would be a no-go. So I sit there. That was one of those things, sitting in front of my desk, like, I need something here. I need something beautiful. It has to be a type of a barricade, a privacy. What do you do? And then voila, this download I got. So I call it the aqueduct, because if you see it, it's like an aqueduct. It's like a double decker of an aqueduct. And of course, it never been done. So it was a big of a challenge with the engineers. And the engineer really had to measure and remeasure because of the winds. So it looks easy, just plans on climbers, but there's a lot of design involved from the people behind it, So the engineers really had to figure out how it would work. And for example, the winds in Aruba, you have to, rate it. You have to count on that because of the winds. So there's always these beautiful works behind scenes that you don't see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or for example, landscaping. That was wonderful to work with. Same story. We make a full floor plan, we decide plans, but there are things that don't work. This plan doesn't go with there. And then, so it's the different, the scenarios where we had to do, or for example, I needed to put the more beautiful trees in the more prominent places, so that they are more exposed, because you have to imagine that in Aruba, everything is very costly. We have to import everything. Every single tree, everything is important.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It sounds very collaborative.
Yes.
Like you have the vision of what you want it to look like, but then sometimes people say, oh, well, maybe that exact thing won't work, but maybe something like this would work, or maybe that exact plant won't work, but maybe a different plant would work.
Yes.
So it sounds like very collaborative.
Yes. And also, for example, you have teams. We are selecting items, and then we said, okay, this is our supplier, and then what do we do for this? So it's very beautiful because then you can really say, okay, this one, yes, no, maybe that one is better. But so it's very once everybody's running for the same, it's like I guess it's like in a family, everything, if everybody is in one vision, everything goes smooth. There's no arguing. There's no, why did you decide that? It's like, no, okay, that walls has hats and textures. Okay, where do we get them? Oh, we get them from this place. We get them from whatever, Morocco. We get you see, so it's very beautiful. It's very enriching, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like everybody sort of has their zone of genius.
Yes.
And if everybody comes together along or around one creative vision, then you get amazing, beautiful places like Boardwalk, like we're here right now.
Yes. And I think, it's also like, I if anything, I think is beautiful. The Boardwalk works with a lot of teams. So the PR team and the writers, and there's a lot of people connected that they might not be in the front, but they are still underneath carrying the vision, you see? And so it's very nice to see how also we started very small. Now so many years later, you've grown, so it's also, you see it.
Yeah.
I think you can sense it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Could you talk to me also about some of the art that you've curated for the hotel?
Oh, okay. There's a long story and a short story. I have always been a lover of, I'm an artist and a designer, but I also love to be able to support others, definitely the locals first. And so from the very beginning, the owners they also love the idea to promote the local artist. And first and foremost, we started with the older generation, which I thought was very particular because it was nice to have the people who are almost retired or not painting anymore. They are Arubans. So we have some beautiful pieces on the actually big artworks from legendary Aruban artists, people that are great hair, and many, they are not even working anymore. And so that is beautiful. And so we invested in those artworks. And again, we wanted to have a curation. I love the idea of curating things because, again, not every art fits the vibe, right? Or the design or the color scheme. It has to be pleasing and has to be going inside that big, let's say, the big umbrella of the design, right? Mm-hmm. The concept. So we got some beautiful art pieces, big ones from the beginning, and all about, and the inspiration, it is always, and I think it will remain, the muse of the artist must be Aruba. Even if you're Aruban, even if the artist is Aruban, but his inspiration is New York, might not be a perfect match for the Boardwalk, you see? So it has to be something that, or maybe it's a foreigner, but he lives in Aruba and he loves the Aruban seascape, or he loves the trees and the cactuses or the rocks. So I think the main common denominator with the art for what I've been curating is definitely beauty. It's very important, beauty, and it has to be serene, and it has to be not negative. When you see an artwork, it should be friendly, it should be enjoyable. I always say that if there are issues, they should be drawn in a different, in a journal type of a private type of a painting. But whatever it is in Boardwalk should remain beautiful, serene, positive.
Yeah.
And the color scheming, and like I said before, the muse should be Aruba, because Aruba is Boardwalk is Aruba.
Yeah.
So it should always be connected. Whether it's the history. We have some pictures also of a photographer, a very good photographer from Aruba. So, and then he did a little bit of a take on the Andy Warhol paintings, with a
cool.
little bit of transparency. So it can be it's Aruba. It can be with a different take, but it is still Aruba.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And can you talk to me a bit about what we see on the wall behind us here?
Well, I think you asked me about the foundation. I also used to have, I have it in pause now. It is something, I have it in pause, and it is, I hope I will not get a tear. I have also worked for 10 years on a foundation, on an NGO, on a 501, you call it in the States, right?
Yeah, 501c, something like that.
501c.
Yeah, like a nonprofit.
It's like a non-profit. But so my vision, and actually everything got halted by COVID. So that's why it's been a big pause. You might not know, maybe it's a to be continued. But I've been running I'm a founder of a foundation, and I was doing vocational training in the arts for vulnerable people. So in a studio on wheels, going to prison, rehab, and they call them double troubles here. So people who have psychiatric and medical issues, addiction. So we were catering these target groups. So teaching them to do art and in the non-for-profit. And the vision was to use the non-for-profit and the for-profit. Later on, once they would be out of, did I mention prison? Prison youth?
Prison,
also,
yeah.
That was the main goal, prison youth. And so it was teaching them the arts, and the vision was once they are out, we can start selling their products as a souvenir for Aruba. And so when I came to work with Boardwalk, of course, I shared the idea that, okay, we have, when I designed the rooms, we have a wall which has the arts, like every room has a art wall. And the intention was always to put pictures and things from the cocoa plantation, of course, the roots of Boardwalk as a cocoa plantation. So some black and white pictures, a little bit like a memorabilia. Memorabilia, do you say it in English?
Yeah, like a memorarium. Yeah.
Sorry, sometimes my accent. So the memorabilia of Boardwalk, but also some something about some pictures or images of the flora and fauna of Boardwalk, but also to put an artwork from the foundation. And my cheerleaders were the owners. They said, of course, it will be wonderful. So we have, that was, what you see here is one of these collaborations. So actually this artwork, these frames were made, I think they were made in Morocco. I think had them made to match the artwork of the foundation. So every room of Boardwalk has an artwork from the foundation. So that was very emotional, because it is very emotional for me. And I'm very proud of that, because of course it's the connection of having things also made locally from a vulnerable group and now being used in a corporate place, and so, yeah.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Why do you think art is an effective form of therapy for these vulnerable groups?
Very powerful, your question. From the beginning, I think going back to my life, right? Remember the Coco Chanel, the artist? I had no idea when I got this download from heaven about the foundation, I never thought I had to do the teaching. And so I never thought I could teach. I'm a designer and a conceptual design. I never thought I could teach people, but somehow once it's in your heart, it's when it's part of your destiny, or you do things. So I was transporting everybody. My volunteers, I was doing everything. I was teaching. So going back to your story, many times people ask me, oh, are you doing art therapy? And I would say, no, that is a byproduct. So I would teach them to do palm trees. So everybody, they were ready. They were at the beginning, they were like, oh my God, let me do my own painting. I would say, no, that you do at home, or that you do by yourself. Here we do Aruba, the beautiful Aruba, the water and the boats. And so talking about, going back to your question, it is very powerful. Art is very powerful. And I think it's being devalued. I think every school, and it should be mandatory in every level. I think it's very, it connects people with themselves. It's very healing. So whether it was we were in prison or we were in rehab, so many times I wanted to just film it to see people. People were like scared. I was in this prison area with 15 kids, teenagers. by myself many times, or with a small student from the university, which I had to bodyguard because he was a girl. So it's like, but so we were there and there was absolutely no noise. Everybody so immersed. Incarcerated kids, I mean, teenagers, kids that you might be a little bit scared when you would see them. And yet there was so much peace in it. And yeah, so I believe that art is very powerful. Anybody, it is a way of, it's a tool of, I guess it's like food. It is a tool for your spirit. And so I had one of these kids who kept on doing very, very dark. And he kept insisting on that, insisting. So I had to have a talk with him. I said, look, you do all your stuff in your cell. Here, we're going to do beautiful things. And he complained. And within no time, he was really like doing the most gorgeous flowers and orchids. Orchids, for anybody who paints, orchids are hard to paint. It's not an easy thing to do. So yes, I think art is so powerful, should be mandatory everywhere, I think. Even in offices, in companies, for breaks, people should, there's something about this creative, I think we all have, we are all innately creative, whether it is how do you say scroll?
Like a scribble?
A scribble? Uh-huh. What is a scribble? It's okay. It can be something beautiful and it is very relaxing. So I think, yeah, if I could, I would put everywhere mandatory in schools art, almost until you're 18.
Wow. It sounds like your program and art was a really powerful tool for these kids going through a really tough time for emotional processing, it sounds like, or just an outlet to, wow, that's incredible. Yeah, so art clearly played an important role for them, and you probably made a difference in so many lives. I'm curious, as you were talking, what role has art played for you in your life?
Well, yes, this is a very good one. It's funny. I think it's not only what I produce, I think it's been very important, but it's also every form. I think observing is also a part of art. You don't have to create always to be an artist or to connect with art. In my role, in my life, I think is very permanent, it's very obvious. It's when I'm cooking, I'm very visual, of course. I see, and texture, so I see the colors, and that is appealing to me. So it's very important art. So from cooking to whatever I'm doing, sometimes I'm, let's see, organizing my shoes, and then I figure, oh, look, these colors, these textures. So I think it is very important in my life, definitely art and design. I'm now busy doing a jewelry line. So yes, I think art is definitely is a thread, is a common thread all throughout my life. But I do think that also people who observe, like I love to go into a museum. Many people go to art galleries in New York. I mean, and I think that's also very nourishing. That's it. That's the word, I think. I think art, any art form is nourishing.
I love that. It is very nourishing. Tell me about this jewelry line you're designing.
Okay. Well, so it's been always there, and it's one of these things that I had in my back burner for a while, and then doing some Scrabbles and some experimentations here and there, and so I'm starting it. It is 18 karat, and it is some 14 karat gold. I have some goldsmith in the Netherlands and Curacao, and I also have some pieces that I like to take pieces from old Dutch design, because I always Dutch jewelry. Why Dutch? Because I am, like I said, I'm a Aruban by heart. I mean, I left so many years ago Guatemala, and this is my life. And then, I mean, I also say, which I would tell actually the kids in prison, I would tell them, we are Dutch citizens. They would say, wait. I said, yeah, you might have other roots, but we were you are born in the Aruba, you hold a Dutch passport. So to me, the connection with the Dutch history, the Dutch heritage is very important. So I also have some in the jewelry. I have some of the, I think I have here. No, I don't have. Well, I have some of the Dutch coral beads, antique beads from the Dutch, and I like to be connected with goldsmiths from the Netherlands or Curacao. Some people tell me, "Oh, have them make in Bali, or they are much cheaper, or they can make." But for me, it is the storytelling behind. I'm also supporting a goldsmith, somebody who's also doesn't believe only in machines. I also like the artisanal part of it. So it takes forever, but it's worth it. So are pieces that are made by hand. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. What inspired you to branch into jewelry?
I guess has to do with what I told you from the beginning. It's been always there. It's just been always in the back burner. So I think if I say accurately the Mother Teresa or the Coco Chanel part, of course, this is the Claudia part. There are two pieces of the puzzle. I believe that I will always be connected to the social justice, and that's very much innate in me, as much as it is the arts. So arts, it has so many spectrums, right? It is from watercolor to oil to, I also paint acrylics, and so watercolor, oil, or jewelry is the same. In my scope, is the same. It's so it's been there. So it's like in the back burner now, putting them in the front burner.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I'm so excited to see the jewelry line once it's out.
Oh, thank you.
You also mentioned that you find creativity in food and cooking as well. And you just opened a new restaurant, right? Could you tell me a bit about that?
Yes. Yes. Well, that's a story on its own. I'm married to Dutch man who is he's also a hotelier. He's been working for hotels all his life, and for years I always saw him, there is a restaurant in your life, and he was like, no, there's no restaurant. And actually, when we did the Coco Cafe, that was also very interesting. I was really, you eaten the Coco,
of course.
Yes. It is it's really a hidden gem. I loved it because, of course, it's the design, but it's also, of course, Stephanie, one of the owners. She's a chef, so I love that she's so engaged with it. What I told you, they're both owners are extremely engaged. But for me, I love to see Stephanie working on her field. It's like the restaurant is again like her canvas. It's a canvas for her. She's a chef, so it's, of course, that's that part. Mm-hmm. So while we were doing this, I still felt like, well, the plans of my restaurant with my husband was always like another one in the back burner. But it was actually like again timing. It's timing. It's all about timing. I think life has all the timing. Sometimes we think that everything is at once. Not. I could be your mom. So just to tell you that's true. So a year and a half ago, we finally said, okay, we have the times, and it was the moment for the restaurant.
That's
so
awesome.
I always say it is a baby for us, for my husband and I. It's our baby. And so it is a Mexican restaurant. It is and it is beautiful because, again, it came very organically for me. It is like this. It's like Boardwalk is a canvas. Okay, what is the concept? What do we need? And so it is a Mexican restaurant. And we're very proud of it. We just opened this January.
Wow, congratulations.
I would love you to see it.
I would love to. What's it called so people can go?
El Patio.
El Patio.
Tacos and tequilas.
Tacos and tequilas.
Yes, and we have a lot of
love it.
Cocktails and mocktails. For the ones who go to the gym and don't want to have the extra calories, we have mocktails as well. And so, but the idea came from, like I said, we wanted something together. And it is organic. It is fabulous to see how we work together. So his skills and my skills together.
Yeah.
And so he's all people's person, and he's all into, he has been doing this, running hotels with restaurants for all his life. That is his career. and my career is design. So we're very strong in what we do. So
That's
it's
awesome.
very interesting. We have very good tacos. It's a taqueria basically, but we have everything else, of course. But we're very focused on having authentic Mexican tacos.
I love that.
So it's not Tex-Mex. It's just very authentic.
That's fantastic. And I assume you did the concept design for
Yes.
that as well.
Yes, that's what I said. Yes.
Yeah. What inspirations did you use when designing your restaurant?
I guess what is very important is the coastal part. Is the same for me as Boardwalk. So in many ways, you will see some of my same. There are many connectors. You will see many factors because, of course, people come for Aruba for Caribbean. You don't come to Aruba for urban. So we do have an area that is air conditioning, but it is very Caribbean, very timeless. So you will see the same thread. Actually, it's like a cousin of Boardwalk or Coco Cafe. They have a lot of the threads. So you will find a lot of authentic colors. Also, people have the wrong idea that Mexico has very primary colors only, like red, because they think the flag and they think it's very cliche, right? They think Mexico bright colors, primary colors at best, but it's not true. Mexico has a lot of history of all colonial colors, the same as in the Caribbean. So in many ways, we have this, it's the same roots. Yes. So you will see a lot of the colors of Mexico, but it's also the rural Mexico. It's not the cliche Mexican, bright green, bright yellow, whites and red. No, it is more classy and it is more, I guess, my inspiration was an old hacienda, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it is funny because it sits on a mall. The mall is called Alhambra, but it's a mall that has been here forever. It's a very modern mall. And the owner approached me and he asked me, okay, Claudia, tell me the truth. He's a New Yorker. He's like, okay, what did you think? I used to work for him back in the days. And he's like, what did you think when you were designing this? And I said, can I say the truth? He's like, yeah. And I told him, well, I imagined that there was an old Mexican hacienda run down, because so you see it outside with the rocks. It's a big patio. So that patio is an outside courtyard. And so I said, well, my intention was that people would think there's an old hacienda, dilapidated hacienda, Mexican, and then somebody glued a modern mall to it. So funny, this is really what I was hoping.
Oh,
so that awesome. It really looks like a satellite from the mall. The mall is very modern, and the building is supposed to be, the concept is to be very nonchalant, that you can come roll from the beach into the restaurant, have some tacos and tequilas, or you can also dress up and go nice for an outing. So it's up to you, but it's a casual dining. We strive really strong with a very strong Mexican chef. He's coming back again to help us tweak some things. So we're very, very proud of that, because I think it's not just looking Mexican, but we wanted it to be genuine, authentic. And I guess, again, I think that's very important in life to show the true colors,
Yeah,
So, yeah.
That's awesome. When you finally see one of your conceptual designs come to life, whether that's this hotel, your restaurant, or something else, how does it feel? Because I imagine it's so rewarding after like months or years of work.
It's beautiful. It's very beautiful what you're saying. You've got very good ears. You're very good in what you do. It's funny because many times I walk through the airport of Aruba, which I design, and now there's a new expansion is something else. There's an area, or the bathrooms, or there's a particular area that I remember I wanted to be like a breathing space for young families with babies, pregnant, or a space where the kids, in airports, kids, and the airport of Aruba is tiny, kind of small in the food area in their stores. So there's that space. When I see, many times I'm crossing by. Right now I'm just a passenger. I'm not a designer. I used to be always with my tag and going through the security passes. Now not anymore. And so I pass, and when I see a pregnant woman or a family with a baby and the child and changing pampers there in the public, and those moments are very emotional, very gratifying. Or that I'm like, wow, I designed that. What a blessing. Or when I see people sitting in the chairs in the airport, the same. Or when I pass by here, there's a pathway here in Boardwalk. We have to move the pathway because I planted a tree, and now it has grown so it's out of proportion that we need to move a little bit the pathway. That tree, I pass by and I'm like, oh, I love you. Because it is a tree that I remember we planted. It looks skinny and flimsy, and now it's such a royal palm tree that now we have to move around. Yeah, so I think it's very rewarding. I love to, when I pass by and see the people swimming in the pool or eating in the restaurant. Sometimes I just look at it and like, wow, what a blessing. Or drinking in the bar, in the cocoa. It's just nice. It's very rewarding. Yes.
Yeah, I bet, because design has such an influence on our lives
Yes.
in ways that people don't even realize, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always say that I'm a design activist. Why do I say that? Because you can influence people in the good and in the bad ways. So I do believe that there is a responsibility also. Why do I say in a bad way? Yeah, there are areas. I mean, you see it with graphics, but also there's so much also like we are like this is all about beauty, but also design can be also influence people in a very negative way. You know, I mean, let's say casinos can be so overdone sometimes, and then they are designed also to make people keep on gambling. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, it's my personal view, but it's designed so that people think that it's day and night, and they can be gambling the whole night, the whole salary, for example. And it's designed so that people will stay the whole day in that place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, I would not design a casino, for example.
Totally. Do you think being an artist has given you a unique perspective on Aruba?
That's a good question. I guess so. I guess when you're an artist, you're very sensitive. I guess, I guess that's the sensitivity. And I guess for me also, it is always almost like a responsibility, because I believe that well, I am not about I mean, I don't do anything with carnival. Aruba is very big with carnival, for example. But for me, so going back to Aruba, but to me, what happens in carnival is that it just profiles to me, I always say it's just the tip of the iceberg. People do carnival, and the whole island is involved with it. They spend a lot on it, time, but to me, it's just the tip of the iceberg. I think it just shows how creative people are. The DNA of the Aruban is very creative. I just think that there are not enough, unfortunately, there are not enough outlets for creative people to expand their roots, their artistic roots, and so yes, I guess it had given me that extra tone to what Aruba is. But I also think that it had also given me an eye to think, what if we could do something more in Aruba? What if, because there's so much need. Why am I saying this? Because I had the experience with the NGO, in the, let's say, the down and unders of Aruba, and they were extremely creative. So imagine that shows you the level of creativity in the island. So yes, I think I'm very fortunate that I have been able to live my creative life here. But I also think that I would love to be able to impact in a more permanent way, maybe the education part of Aruba, so not the normal school, but like I said, I go always for the down and under. So, but yes, to be able to make an impact on people through design or through art. Yes, I would love to be part of it. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think your art and designs have changed throughout the years?
Mm, it's funny because I think maybe you mature, but it's very interesting because I think many of the things they keep on coming back to. It's like it's all coming back to me. The song is like it's always. I see the same thread of I make so many restaurants at the beginning of my career. There are many who are gone. They are not there anymore because Aruba has changed. They were the old grand dames from Aruba. And yet I still can see that they're still the same type of threads. There's still the extreme color. The balance with colors is extreme, the same neutrals, balancing the bright colors, a lot of textures. So I guess maybe mature, but not necessarily change. No, I fall for coastal and textures, craft things, but I also love stainless steel and acrylics and modern materials. So I guess it's just growing in the journey of the design, not really changing, just expanding, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. What is something that you haven't designed yet that you want to?
Do we really have to say this in the podcast? Well, I'm busy. It's so funny because I am busy with this. I am busy with a line also. I'm doing something with a fabric design.
Ooh.
And that is, so I do want, actually it's this type of, I do want my watercolors on fabric.
Ooh.
That's what
So a clothing line maybe?
I would say more like an accessoire to start with. Yeah. So I'm shifting. So yes, if you say that is something, it's as you see what you have here, like the maps that you guys receive in Boardwalk when you come in. The treasure,
the different treasure maps that guests get when they come in.
It would be something like this. So these are my.
That's your watercolor.
Watercolor, yes.
Beautiful. That's awesome that every guest, when they're introduced to the hotel, one of the very first things, other than obviously walking in the lobby, like they get to hold a piece of your art, which is really cool.
Yeah, yes. It's it's an honor actually. And I love it actually. I'm very humbled by it. And of course, all of this work is the work of the team. So all of this, the idea, this came about with the idea of how to give that local feel from the owners that wanted to give that local feel of Boardwalk to you are not in the high rise. You're staying in a smaller place. So they wanted to have that treasure box. And we started with a small, tiny little box, literally a little wooden box. And now it's called Treasure Map. But it had changed. But so this is my design. I love to have this on every guest. And then this is I love that it is now with all the team of Boardwalk, they have developed it in different categories.
That's awesome.
Refined, but in a very subtle way, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, they have all different places you can go on the island and do different activities. That's really cool.
All out of the path, right? Out of the main path. So it's like the idea is to try to keep the Boardwalk people into that little segment of almost locals.
That's awesome. Where are your favorite places to go on the island?
I love, I think it's called Punta Bravo, which is the ocean side by Divi. It's an ocean front. And for me, that's my holy place. I need to be there every weekend, so I need to have a walk on the Punta Bravo, which is just beautiful. The ocean is beautiful, but also it's a very long stretch. So it's before the Palm Beach. That is my favorite place to go. Well, what else? I love the kite area because that's where my kids are, and one of my sons have a business there. He's a kite surf. They have a company, but he's an athlete.
Yes. Cool.
So I love that area. For me, is that again that vibe, that local vibe, really genuine, barefoot. Get a towel and run into the ocean.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's, I think, that was my favorite spot. I actually love the beach of the boardwalk. Before even it was a boardwalk beach, I used to swim there.
Oh,
It's so
wonderful.
funny because I have always swum there. So for me, I have always parked my car, throw my towel. I would drop my kids at school in my, in my patio and my swimming wear, go swim and then continue working through the day. So that was my go-to place for many, many years. So I love that beach, the Boardwalk Beach, actually. Yes. And then what else do I love? A good walk on the north coast. I love, again, nature, right? It's, I think, and restaurants, of course, there are so many, but it's mostly that I love the nature part of it.
That's wonderful. And what is your definition of success?
Mm, that's a very nice one. I think success it's to do with finding who you are, what you were designed to be and become. I do believe that there was a design, there's a purpose and a destiny written. Before I was born, I know there's a history, there was something that I could fulfill. So I think success is finding who you are, coming to terms with the strength and your weaknesses. We all have a baggage of, a luggage of strength and a luggage of weakness. We all humans, it's like, so I guess success is finding that who you are, what your strength and your weaknesses, coming to terms with it. And I think just following that, which is, and I do believe that that's why it's so important, silence and being retrospect. Because with all this noise, I mean, now I was just thinking with this, with all the socials, people can just get drifted away. And I sound like a grandma now, but really, when you see kids spending so much time with socials, and then again, all of this is fake. I mean, most of it is fake. So I think what is success would be find who you are, what you're in this earth to do it with all your might, with all your heart, and I think being able to also be grateful for what you are and what you have, I think that is extremely, it makes a person super successful. Because I think that's part of the power, we're here to do something, we are not just passing by. So I think success is that, being able to leave the world or leave something better than when you came. I think that is success. It's not how many cars you have, how many followers you have. It's not how many powerful. It's nothing to do. The things that are more precious for a person, I think, or to make a person successful, is not the days that you were running, to do something, to create. Is what you have also enjoyed. What I think that is success. Yeah.
Very well said. I love that. All right, Claudia, are you ready to move into the lightning round?
Yes, man.
What is something new that you've tried lately?
Pilates.
Pilates?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Did you like it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was a big challenge for me.
A lot of core strength.
Yeah, the performer. Why? Because I have always been very not how do you say that? Not
like balanced?
No.
Or...
how do you call it? Completely opposite. So if everybody would say go up, I would go down. Completely discoordinated. That's it. Not coordinated at all.
Oh,
so that was
gotcha.
for me the challenge, and still is.
Oh.
So I really have to be very present, and I love that it makes me be focused. Okay, now they say up. Now they say down. So it's also, of course, I'm enjoying the exercise and the so I'm really enjoying it.
I love that. Do you have a lesson or message that you want to share with listeners?
Boardwalk has a lot of repeat clients, repeat guests, and that says a lot. People love Boardwalk. This is back in days because of the vibe. Even when they were half remodeled the rooms. So it is the vibe, but then also with the years, it has become so much more. Also, it's almost like a family. It's interesting because people really, although I think, if anything, I would say if you have not been in Boardwalk, it's really worth it. It's not just because it's my work, but really, it is a beautiful property. And inside out is really cohesive. Inside out, it's not just blah, blah. It's not just show. It's not just a website or a good PR. It is real. So I think the real component of Boardwalk, it is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I would say for the people who have never been, this is really a place to come. It's beautiful. You would not regret it. And it doesn't matter that we are not positioned at the beach. It's very close. I mean, the boardwalk is very close to the beach. But even the transport, the duration between here and the beach is 5 minutes, and it is beautiful. It's in a golf cart. So I would say it's not just because I am connected to Boardwalk, but it is really a beautiful project and a beautiful place to come and experience. It's really a very experiential location. And I would say for your target group, I would say, of course, also Boardwalk is beautiful to come and have rest and have also like workplaces and also work from home. I think there's also a beautiful from out of home, work out of the office. To work remote is also a fantastic place to be. And I would say something else for your people, I guess, because we creatives, we can be very scattered. I think that is one of these things we have to be very careful with. We have to also learn to withdraw and like in my case, it has been also, if anything, a hard take to not put all the creative at once. Because the more creative we are, the more we want to put all the balls at the same time up. Well, maybe it's time to put some in the back burner, some in the shelf, some in the back closet, and then in the due season, we will be able to take one. But focus on one, work on that, and then focus on the next. You see, so sometimes we want all at once, and I think especially very creative people, that is a little bit of a challenge.
For sure, that's great advice. And what is one thing you wish you knew when you were first starting out?
Well, I don't know if your generation was. I don't know if you guys suffer the same, but my generation, I'm 57. So I know in my generation, and I know in many of my contemporary people, the same type of time of age group, we always heard from home and actually from society, don't go into creative careers, you will not make money. Do a corporate career, don't go into art, don't go into don't go into any of the arts because you will not be able to put to take money home. I guess that is something you should always block your ears to, because it is very damaging, because you always think, oh well, you should have been a doctor, you should have been a lawyer. That was very much in the trend in my time. I don't know in you guys, but I would say just close the ears to that. Anything that is creative is possible, because I think that shadow was always like around me, at the beginning of my career, especially because I started a little bit in a tumultuous way, because I just divorced, and then I was going to start my career, but once the kids were a little bit bigger, and then it was like a fast forward, and so then I had to stand in the world with my 2 little kids, thinking, gosh, the voices were, you will not make money, you will not be able to survive. So I guess it's very important from the beginning. I would say, if anything, do not listen to those voices.
I love that.
I think that's very important also for you. You can work for yourself. Yeah. And we all can be entrepreneurs, all of us. We don't have to go into corporate or.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's such an important message, because I think a lot of creative people face a lot of self-doubt.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I think that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, Claudia, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for joining. Could you tell everybody where they can find you, check out your work, all of the things?
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, I guess for now, I have a website, but is it artesanodesign studio.com? You can find art from me. You can find also an info if there's anything connected with career-wise. I have also an Insta, which is Arte Sano. So it's Arte Sano Design Studio. And it's actually looks very private. I am busy changing it, but basically that's the name of my company. It's a design studio, and it's Arte Sano, and it's a play of words. So it's not artisan as in English, but it's arte in Spanish, sano, which means it's also a play of words. It means art is healthy in Spanish.
I love that.
So,
awesome.
Yeah, so that's basically, you can find Arte Sano Design Studio.com or Arte Sano Design Studio